Broadcasting live from our Columbia, Maryland headquarters. They are founders of Hard Money Bankers, REI 360, and are international bestsellers with their book, The Whiteboard. Here are Jason Balin and Chris Haddon.
Hey guys, it's Jason with REI 360 and hardmoneybankers.com. I got a great guest today that I want to introduce you to. His name's RJ Breeden from the Breeden Group of Remax Sales. RJ is one of the leading real estate agents located in Baltimore, Maryland. RJ, say what's up to everybody real quick.
Thank you guys. Hello.
So the reason I wanted to get RJ on the show today is RJ is in the process of growing a team. Well, actually, he already has a real estate team. And as we all know, there's a big difference between being a one-man or one-woman real estate agent and actually having a full-on blown team with business, staff, and things like that. There's a lot of differences in your day-to-day operations, the tasks that you do. Everything that you do as a one-man band is just different than you have a team with employees and things like that. And I want RJ to discuss that a little bit with you in a second. But the big question is to ask yourself as you're watching this video, does it make sense for you to actually grow a real estate team or be a one-man operation? There's no right or wrong answer, and that's up to you to kind of determine. So RJ, again, thank you for being on the show. Welcome. If you don't mind, can you tell us a little bit of background about yourself and kind of how you got into real estate?
Yeah, absolutely, Jason. So I got into the real estate business about 6 years ago, coming from the hospitality industry. I was formerly a bartender. I worked my first 2 years in the bar business, and also selling real estate full time. But until I had a positive cash flow or a steady stream of income coming in, you have to do what you have to do to make ends meet. So fast forward 6 years, here I am now with Remax Sales. I have a well-orchestrated full-service real estate team. I have 4 agents that work for me and a full-time assistant.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good progression over, only 6 years. How long were you a one-man operation for?
So I was a one-man operation for 3 years. And my business really started to pick up about my 3rd year. How I base my business is upon referrals. It's a good foundation. So instead of hunting for the next deal, I like to think of myself as a farmer, and I go out there and plant seeds, which hopefully then turn into trees, and then the trees actually are plentiful. Yeah. So that's kind of how I look at things.
Makes sense. And so when did you actually bring on that first employee, and then who was your first hire?
Okay, so year 3, I hired a full-time assistant. Her name is Rose Helsley. She's been with me for 3 years now. I tell the story often, but I lost 3 deals. It was the month of April. And when I say I lost 3 deals, these were qualified buyers that were given to me and or sellers. They were at the top of my list, and by the end of the day, they fell to the bottom of the list, and then they were never contacted the next day. And that's when I looked at my business or my real estate career, and I said, wow, I just lost a substantial amount of income. Now it's time to make the hire. So there was a fear there of paying a full-time assistant. But then I lost 3 deals, and there was no fear of me losing the deals, and I lost them.
That would have paid for that person anyways, potentially for the whole year.
Absolutely. So I hired Rose. She's been with me. She's my right hand. I like to think of myself as I shake the trees, and I've hired my weakness, and she catches everything, and she organizes it for me on a daily basis. And she keeps me on task and on point to really, hit my goals on a daily basis and, keep me on track and keep me focused. And more importantly, hold me accountable at a high level. So,
yeah,
that was year 3.
Yeah, and I think that seems to be the right time to do it. And, a lot of people, a lot of business owners, real estate agents, doesn't matter what industry you're in, as a small business owner, that's kind of what you learn. When you missed out on an opportunity, that's kind of a aha moment of, I really need help. And I remember back in the day when my business partner, Chris, and I, we were doing everything. I mean, we have about 10 people in our operation right now, but we were cutting checks by hand with no software, answering all the phones, doing everything. And our first hire was it was kind of an admin position, but then it turned into like an accounting and a bookkeeping position just to kind of hold down the fort. So if we weren't in the office, money was still flowing in correctly. We weren't missing out on opportunities. So I'd agree that's usually the first good hire. What was kind of next? Like, why did you decide to turn into a team? Because obviously, with one admin, a lot of real estate agents have an admin in place, either a licensed or unlicensed agent that kind of helps with the day-to-day operations. But kind of what was the next step related to why you decided to take it to the next level and get agents under you and grow your team?
So the reason why I wanted to go to the next level and hire some buyer's agents was because I was dedicating a lot of time to working with buyers, working with sellers. I was getting pulled in so many different directions that not only was it not fair to my clients, it wasn't fair to me. So with that being said, I hired my first buyer's agent. And then that buyer's agent turned into another buyer's agent. So we have 3 buyer's agents on my team currently. They specialize in working with the buyers. It's their responsibility to know the areas, to know the inventory. They need to be the experts in their craft or in the industry, from contract to close, and it's really, the home buying process is an exciting time for the home buyer.
Sure.
So they need somebody that's going to be dedicated to them and working with them. And, as your business picks up and as your business grows, I think it's difficult, when you're trying to produce at a high level, to keep things organized and to be dedicated to your clients. And that's very important.
Have you had the challenge that you've had to overcome in the past of, hey, RJ, I'm working with you because you're the man and I want to work with you. Why are you pawning me off? And maybe that's not the right word, of pawning me off, but why are you making me work with a buyer's agent when you're the one I want to work with? Like, have you had that challenge as you've grown, and how did you overcome that?
Absolutely. So how I base my business is I get quality buyers and quality sellers. And with that being said, normally I have a good working relationship with them. So when I first got into the business and hired my buyer's agent, I was just saying, hey, go meet XYZ, my buyer's agent at the property, and they were showing the property to them. And I lost about 3 to 5 clients in the process. And I said, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better way. And with that being said, I reevaluated my business, and now we bring all our buyers into the office. We do a buyer's consultation. We go over the home buying process. I have a home buying binder. And we really qualify the buyer at that point to see how serious they are. And at that time, the buyer specialist that's going to be dedicated to working with them will actually be there and be present. So it's the golden handoff. It's a warm handoff, and it works extremely well.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think for all real estate agents that are considering growing a team out there, they really need to listen to that again, because I talk to a lot of real estate agents on a regular basis, and I'm always like, you're too big to be a one-man band. You're just doing too many deals. You're missing out on opportunities. And they're always like, well, I'm the brand. People are buying from me because it's me. I'm scared if I bring on somebody else that I'm going to lose business and they're not going to get the same quality of service. And I mean, that's a little bit of baloney, because every business as they grow, you need to have, you kind of grow together. And if you set proper expectations, and I like the fact that everyone comes in and it's, hey, I'm RJ, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so. We work as a team. We're collaborating as a group. If you write a contract on a property, even if, this buyer's agent did it, I'm aware of that. And if something goes wrong, I'm stepping in. I know exactly what's going on. We're all a part of the team. They may be doing some of the heavy lifting, keystrokes, wherever the case is, but we're all part of it, and we all make the decision together because they're buying you as the brand, and they're trusting that you're involved in the process, which you are. And I mean, that's the right way to do it. So I think that's powerful for other real estate agents to understand of, don't worry if someone else is doing stuff. I mean, you're never going to be able to grow into a team if you have to go to every home inspection, if you have to go to every listing appointment, if you have to go drive around every property. There's no way to replicate yourself, so you do the next best thing, which is create a sphere and a team around yourself. So
right, 100%. I can't agree with you more. And you have to trust the hires that you're hiring.
Yeah.
That's the main thing as well. And my guys and my girls are in the office on a daily basis, and we communicate on a daily basis. And I can probably pick up any folder at any given time and see where we are in the transaction, or know where I am in the transaction at a blink of an eye or an email, really. So that's very important. But I think you have to be willing to grow, and there's going to be some growing pains, but ultimately it's for the better, I think, of one, your client, and two, yourself and your business.
Yeah, you put the right people in place, you put the right process in place, and your product is selling yourself. He's already working. So what do you think is the biggest challenge so far? And I mean, I could tell you as an entrepreneur and owning businesses at Hard Money Bankers for 10 years now, we have little problems and big problems, and they come up every day. And the stronger person is the one who knows how to deal with them the right way. Like, what's one challenge that you've had as growing a team? And I'm sure you're going to have a bigger challenge than this in the future. But as of right now, like, what's one challenge?
My biggest challenge, I would say, is my expectations are so high for my team, and I want success so bad for them. Ultimately, probably more so than they want it for themselves. And they want it for themselves very high, but I like to be the first one in the office and the last one to leave. And in the real estate business, I think it's very easy to, come in and give 75% and be successful in it. And the agents that are giving 100% every day, they're ultimately successful, and it shows. It shows by their work ethic, shows in their production level. So I would say that's the biggest challenge is kind of understanding that everyone's not built like me, and I'm not perfect. But what I do have is, I believe I have that hustle, and that's something you can't teach in some people. You either have it or you don't, and it's like with professional athletes almost as well. You either have it or you don't.
Yes. So your challenge is, being like, give me 110%, give me 115%. I'm doing it. Why can't you? And I guess overcoming that is realizing that, you figure out kind of what's suitable for the average person or whoever is running that position. And as long as they can accomplish that, hey, you're happy. So it makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what it is. If your head's not in the game that day, don't come to the office. Yeah. If you have some personal things going on, take care of them, But when you come into the office, treat it as a business. Yep. It's very, people get in this business to be their own boss, which is great. Most of them are terrible at it. Yeah. And with that being said, I want people that on my team that get into this business to help people. And real estate 95% of the time should be a positive transaction. Yeah. Unless you're dealing with the death and divorce. That's the only negative time I see.
Biggest transaction that most people ever have in their lifetime, and one of the the most dollars and cents of any financial transaction they ever have, and all very good points. And part of this is for our viewers to determine if running a real estate team or being a one-man operation is right for you. And like I said earlier, there's no right or wrong. Being a real estate agent or broker, real estate investor is similar because you could do a few transactions a month or a year and make a good living as a one-man operation and not have much have a crazy workload or crazy responsibility. Now, if you're a one-man operation, you're doing everything. You're going to every home inspection. Your workload is all transactional stuff. And then the other side, if you create a team, all of a sudden, your business not necessarily, doing transactional real estate anymore. It's managing your employees, working with your employees, doing visionary activities, doing marketing things and things like that. So all of a sudden your day-to-day tasks are changing, and some people may want that, some people may not. And there's no right or wrong. So let me ask you a question. Can you walk us through what, in your mind, you believe is a productive day?
Any day that we have a settlement is productive. But ultimately, I get into the office about 9 a.m. every day at this point. And with that being said, I communicate with my assistant. We go over what our tasks are for the day, where we are at in the transactions. I write 5 personal note cards, and I write I write 5 personal note cards, and I make 5 direct phone calls to people in my database on a daily basis.
Good stuff.
And that's I try to build that personal relationship or that personal touch. So with that being said, Baltimore County schools are going back in session today. I'll call a couple of my clients to see how their first day of school was. And it's just an opportunity to touch base, get in front of them. Yeah, I say get in front of them, but be on the forefront of their mind and let them know that I'm thinking about them and their family at this time. And it's not even real estate related. And then with that being said, I normally try to have 1 lunch appointment a day. And then any afternoon appointments with home inspections, stopping by to, I say get details on a property or upcoming listing, meeting appraisers. I think it's important to meet appraisers in the process of the transaction. If an investor or a seller asks me to come by their neighborhood or check on their property. So I'm doing admin or internal stuff of the business for mostly from about 9 to 12 every day on a daily basis. And then from there, we go out into the streets and we, I say hit the streets with open houses, brokers opens, and things like that.
Yeah, I like to call it like transactional stuff and growth stuff. You're inside the business, half the day holding down the fort, making sure current transactions are good, and then the other half you're doing growth activities and making sure you grow the activities. And I love what you said related to hitting up your sphere of influence and your database. I mean, every day I got people coming into my office asking, how do I raise capital? How do I do this? I don't know this person. It's like, hit up the people you know. You already know people. Our business, our lending company is fueled just by sending out emails to our database every day. We have everybody. We need to hire somebody. We send out an email to our database, and somebody knows somebody. We need this. Send it. You hit up the people you know. You need more loans or you need more properties to sell. Call your existing clients. Whatever the case is, and that's what it's
I couldn't agree with you more. That's the foundation of my business. And you get these agents out there, and it's no knock to them, but they're chasing expires. They're chasing for sale by owners. Yes. When maybe they just need to call their brother or their cousin or their grandmother or their uncle or their pastor from their church or something like that. These people have great connections inside their databases, and I don't feel that they use them. So I think it's very important to work their database, their quality referrals.
Exactly. And one tip on a database, when you're hitting up a database, you're not necessarily hitting that particular person up to do business with them. It's to do business with people that they may know. Because
Correct.
That person you just sold a house to, they're not going to buy another house from you right now, chances
Absolutely.
are. But they may know people that do need to buy a house. I mean, we have so much retention internally with our clients because they bring other clients to us and referrals and referrals and referrals, and all of a sudden you start with this little seed like you were talking about earlier with the tree, and it plants and it plants and it plants, gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So all good stuff. So, all right, one last question for you. What are your long-term goals kind of with this? Do you like working as a team? Did you like better when you're a one-man operation and didn't have responsibility of management? Like, what's your long-term goals? Where do you see yourself down the road as your happy place, with doing deals?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love the managing of the people and or the growing of the business. There's a lot of realtors out there, but I treat my real estate business or real estate group as a business. So I track the profits and the losses. To me, that's exciting, and the growth potential. So, to see the team grow, and I say the lives of the individuals on my team that work for me, and to benefit their lives, that's what excites me. So to see the 4 individuals or the 5 individuals now that work for me, and to see how real estate changes their life and moving forward, it's great. So when it comes to goal setting, it's to continue to move forward, always work and grow up the ladder. My goals are extremely large. 2016, my goal is to sell 50 million. Last year we did 18.3 million.
Yeah, it's a big step up.
Yeah, it's a big step up. We closed 86 transactions last year.
What's your average sale?
Average sales price is $250,000, and we've already closed about 88 transactions on the year. So we've passed our number of units last year, and we're on track, to probably double. We're almost double our pace. So the business is growing, and that's the challenging part, So, but that's the goal, continue to grow. The sky's the limit in the real estate business. A mentor of mine told me a long time ago. He said, "There is no floor in this business, yet there is no ceiling." So there is no ceiling to hold you back, and you can put as many hours as you like in and be as successful as you want. However you define success, everybody defines it differently.
That's right. And one of the best feelings in the world is getting a referral from somebody, waking up in the morning and be like, "Hey, by the way, so and so told me to call you." I get that satisfaction in our lending company and other business I'm in. I'm sure you get that satisfaction. There's nothing better than being at a place financially, and they don't have to, even if you're going to grind, because we're grinders. That's what we're going to do. We're going to continue
Absolutely.
to grind. But even if you don't want to, you wake up in the morning and it's like, "Hey, I got 3 new leads to follow up with." You can't stop those leads from coming in. I remember going to a real estate seminar like 15 years ago when we started getting into real estate investing. My business partner Chris and I were there. One dude standing on stage with all these checks, tons and tons of checks, and he owned maybe 400 units. He was like, "I'll tell you guys one thing. I can never stop these checks from coming in, even if I wanted to. I have too many properties, and I have too many guys that are paying me rent every month." And I was like, "That's a good feeling to have. You can't even stop leads from coming in, even if you wanted to." So. All good stuff. Obviously, really appreciate it. Just a quick recap on RJ. RJ has been a real estate agent for about 6 years now. About 3 years ago, he decided to bring on an admin. And the reason he brought on an admin is because he needed additional help. He felt like he lost out on some deals that even if he had gotten those deals, they would have paid for that admin for the whole year. He brought on a few agents. Right now, he's got 4 agents under them. He's really been growing his real estate agent company. Real estate team, sorry, that's probably the better way to do it. I can personally endorse RJ because I've worked with him on 1 or 2 transactions that he's listed and sold for us. So thank you on those. They were both in Baltimore, Maryland area. So RJ's a great real estate agent. If you are in the Baltimore area, please reach out to RJ. And if you're not, and you just maybe want to, have a like-minded advice with another real estate agent who's successful, maybe reach out to him as well. Maybe you can share ideas and things like that. So RJ, what's the best way that everyone can get in contact with you?
So via email is the best way to contact me. I can be reached at rj at and then it's Breeden, which is my last name. It's BREEDEN group.com. And that's the best way. And always just, on a closing remark, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. And it's always great to just, talk with like-minded people and level up. I do a lot of networking with agents across the country, and they bring real value to myself and my team, and it works. So these guys I've never met, but I understand and I follow their business, and it really works. And what you put into this business is what you're going to get out. Yeah. And that's what I would kind of just continue to as a single agent or as a group or a team. What you put in every day, success is a small thing over a long period of time. And the key word is over a long period of time. And that's my mindset.
100% agree. And what you do today pays off tomorrow. It doesn't pay off today. So the more you put in today, the more it's going to pay off tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Thanks, RJ.
Yeah, no problem.
Certainly
Thank you.
Appreciate it.